Okie dokie. All right, so let's see if we can get this to work this time. Plan is just a full assembly of the chessboard with pieces that have already been made and a board that hopefully will stick together. So we have a new assembly here. First thing you want to place is always going to be whatever the base or board is. And in this case, it is this one, which is actually for me a sub-assembly, but that doesn't really matter. You have one board, and I'm going to give it a more useful front top right. Set current view as front and set current view as home, fit to view. Okay. And all of my constraints are going to be based off of the origin planes. These two origin planes, and then not that XY, I'm going to use the surface so that I don't have to do an offset, but everything's going to be based on a offset of an odd number of inches away from the side, since each of these blocks, hopefully, are 2 by 2. So in order to center a piece on this, it'd be 1 inch from the side. Centered on this square would be 3 inches from the side, 5, and so on. So I'm going to turn on the visibility of these just to make it easier to click. And then let's place some pieces. All right, so I already have 2 of everything in different colors. And I am going to do, I don't need to do all 32 pieces. I'll do a few of each and just enough to do an animation. Okay, so let's bring in, I don't know, 4 of these, 4 out of the 8. And let's open up this part file. You can do it here, but I want access to the origin planes to do some constraining. But it's in fact, let's just go ahead and do all 8 of them. It's probably easier, instead of going through and right-clicking on finding this one and opening up its origin planes, if you just open up the part file and turn on the visibility of the origin planes in the part file, not the horizontal one, the verticals. Then when you go back here, they should all be on. And we can start by just mating the bottom of each one of them, making sure to get the entire, the flat surface there, not the edge, the green dot, and not the axis. And mate that to the surface of the board, and do that for all of them. And my chessboard has a weird, it's actually a bunch of little wooden blocks, which makes it unnecessarily complicated. But yours will probably be one full thing. And because if you're using traditional chess piece shapes, a few of them are completely radially symmetrical, where there is, let's say, there isn't really a front or a side. That will make it easier. Okay, so let's see here. We want, if we just look at it roughly, we want one of them to be here and another one to be here, another one to be here, and so on. So they'll all be 3-inch offset from this, I suppose it's technically the front, and an odd number offset from the left side. So let's see here. Let's see, and it might be mate or flush depending on which way it pops. If it doesn't pop right away, it means that it needs to be the other one. Okay, I also have predict offset, so that's fine. So we'll set it to 3 there and hit apply, and then mate. It's got to be the one going the other direction, which is that plane with that one. And why did it do a negative? Shouldn't it be 1, 3? Oh, if it's 16 all the way across, 15 is the last block. And whether it gets as negative or positive doesn't really matter, just so long as it goes. So let's do the rest of these. Let's make that to that with an offset of 3. Let's do all of them offset of 3. So a good idea for assemblies is to bring in a bunch of pieces at once, but don't bring in all the pieces. It just will be, it gets too crowded. And so this one will go here, and that should be an offset of -1 in this case. And whether it ends up being negative or positive just has to do with which way you extruded when you first made each of the parts, or rather when you first made the board. It doesn't, it's just whatever's relative. In this case, so -3 for there. And here will be -5. And you shouldn't be able to click and drag anything if it's fully constrained. So we need to do, I've actually made this unnecessarily complicated for me. So we need to do this one. This needs to be -7. -9. And I think I only have one more. No, 2 more, and that one's constrained. So do this one is -11. This one -13. Okay. So you should be able to try to drag them and not be able to drag them. Okay, and I would say save relatively frequently. And then now that I have all of these gray pawns constrained, I can go back and turn off the visibility of these. You shouldn't have to save it, but sometimes it helps. And so I'll just go through and make the rest of, constrain the rest of this team. And then in the next video, I will do the animation. Okay, so we have, let's work our way around. We need 2 rooks. Yeah, just go. Okay, and so we'll constrain the base to the base. Oh, that's not what I want. Constrain mate the bottom of that to surface here. And bottom of that to surface here. And for these two, I don't know. It doesn't really, it's not that much harder to search through the work planes, or excuse me, the origin planes. But let's mate that to that with an offset of -1. We'll put it in that column. And then if we try to mate this to this, that's fine. That's 1 and 1 puts it there. And then the other rook We'll go that to that, and all the way to the side for me is -15. And then the one going the other direction, +1. Okay, and we're getting close. Let's do the other ones. Let's do a couple of bishops. Okay, so this is the first one that I have that is directional. So let's just go ahead and always start. We know we want it to be flat to the surface. So we'll do that. Okay, then it might actually make sense to turn on the visibility of the origin planes here. Okay, so let's turn on the visibility of the vertical ones. Visibility. Oh, good, and it does do it for both, so that's fine. Okay, so I want it to face, I want it to be sort of turned a little bit. So when I go to mate, I don't want to do this one to this side. I want to mate it to this side so it will turn. And it turned the wrong way, so I'm going to switch it to flush, and that will turn it back that way. And I still want an offset of 1. It might be -1. It is, so I'll go -1. Hit apply, and same thing here to here. And it's facing the correct direction. So go 1, or -1, I should say. Hit OK. And now I just need to deal with how far from the side. And so here, I'll start with mating and see if it doesn't move right away. Oh, and this is new. It switched it to flush automatically because it knows I didn't want to break it. So it just guessed that flush was the right thing. That's good. And it's 3 for that one. And -13 gets me to the other one. And we can turn off the visibility of that. And so what do we need next? Oh, wait, you know what? That's not where the bishops go. They go one more in this. So this should be -11. And the other one should be +5. And all right, so we need some of the knights. Go here. We need 2 of these. This is another one that is certainly directional. One there. It does look like it's already pointing the correct direction. Let's turn on the visibility of those origin planes. The vertical. And we want this one to go to this one. And it guessed the right direction, but I only want an offset of 1. And then it needs, in order to slide in there, we want to constrain this to there. And if yours is not popping into location, it's probably because you don't have the auto predict. If you don't have this selected, predict offset and orientation, when you go to constrain it, it'll probably just pop all the way over there. And that's fine, except that's why it was actually switching it for me. Where you would need, if you want something flipped, you need to do the opposite, either mate or flush. And so that's generally a good thing to have on the predict offset orientation. Sometimes it will mess things up, but it's useful in this one. And so this one I need to be an inch off that direction, which is 1. There we go. And we can turn off the visibility of these. Then we just have one king and one queen for the gray team. And the location is queen to her color is the mnemonic for what piece goes where. So the lighter colored team queen will be on the lighter color grid, because it's not always going to be a black and white grid or black and white chess pieces. But regardless, we do need one of each for this team. And we're going to do it the same way with mating this. Sure. Mating that to that. Just go and do both these first. And we'll turn on the vertical planes. Sure. Well, we don't even need to turn them on. We can just select them from the drop down here. So we want this to be, let's see here. I want it to be here. So that's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, an offset of 9. Yep, positive 9. And I want it to be here, which means I need to find the queen's other vertical plane, which is in this case the XY. I don't know why mine is, that shouldn't be the XY plane, whatever, it's fine. And do an offset there of 1. And the fact that I didn't move means that if I hit apply, it's probably going to say not good. So it means it's going to be the opposite flush, and it's going to be a -1 to put in the right location. That's why last time it was switching it to flush automatically, because I had predict on. Okay. And the king does, in a traditional design, is not, I should say it's directional, or the direction matters. And so let's go ahead and constrain. This one needs to go along with this, and an offset of 1 puts it on the right row. And I need to get its other vertical one, that one. Let's constrain that to here. And a predicted offset of 7 should be exactly 7. And there you go. All right, so I'm going to end the video here. I will put on the other team the same way. And we'll start the next video and do a animation demonstration. The key is that each piece should have 3 constraints on it. One that holds it down to the board, and then one that goes to one side and another that goes to the other side with an offset. You'll see all of the offsets for this are multiples of, or I should say are odd numbers. Any one of these offsets will have a mate and then 2 offsets that are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 up through 15. Okay. All right. So we'll end it there, and then we'll do some animation next time. Go for it.